Here was the biggest thing that helps me. I used to get mad. I swear to God, let me tell you, somebody say no. I'd be like, what? You don't see the value? And then I would replay in my head, well, how could I have done it better? Maybe if I said it this way, maybe if the offer included this. There's utility to that. So I give myself grace. We all want to refine our processes and get better. So I try to take what's useful about that and leave the self-flagellation.
Welcome to today's episode of Influence by Design. I'm your host, Samantha Riley, and today we're going to talk about a topic that doesn't get covered a lot, but I actually feel like this is one of the biggest things that are holding people back, potentially holding you back from getting to the level that you want to be getting today. So I'm not even going to tell you what it is yet, but I've invited Laura Catella to the show. So welcome, Laura. I'm really looking forward to riffing with you about this topic today.
We call that an open loop in copywriting.
I wouldn't know that at all. Well, I think
I've got this amazing thing, but right before that, here's this. It was so great.
Why don't you share a little bit about yourself? What is it that you do and how did you get here?
My parents had a codependent relationship, and no, I'm kidding. That's
I was like, okay, we're starting here. Actually, I was a little bit worried when you said my parents. I thought, oh, we're going right back to day one.
It all starts with them, doesn't it?
Right.
So the way I found myself in the crazy internet marketing coaching world began in 2008. After I graduated from college and thought I would be an investment banker. The problem was it was 2008. And so I did not get a job at any of the banks that I thought were foretold to me. And by a miracle of fate, I Googled how to make money online. And when I Googled that, some twists and turns led me to discover this thing called copywriting. And as soon as I had an understanding of what that was, I had always fancied myself a writer, and I always really enjoyed advertising and marketing. I was into it. And as soon as I understood that copywriting was the way to be not a poor writer, potentially, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And so for however long it's been since then, from 2008 until now, I've mainly been known in this space as a copywriter, but through providing copywriting services, I learned how to attract premium top dollar clients. And so that's something I've been able to teach people across different disciplines. It doesn't matter if you offer copy or web design or coaching, therapy, healing work, energy work. There's fundamental principles that have to do with yourself, your own personal work, and the messaging and the communication that you put out there to get in alignment with those premium clients that I'm sure a lot of people in your audience would love to work with.
Love that. The thing we're actually going to start off talking about is confidence, because I feel that this is this insidious little black thing that sits behind or on top, on everyone's shoulder, no matter how amazing people are. There's always this thing that comes up. I'm not good enough to do that. Who am I to do that? I don't know enough about that. I'm not, even for females, I'm not attractive enough to be able to put myself out there to do that. It is insane the amount of things that come up for us in entrepreneurship. And, you know, one of the things I always say is that I believe that entrepreneurship is the greatest personal growth journey that we can go on.
Amen.
Let's talk about confidence, because, well, actually, this is let's go here, because you're probably about to absolutely go into this. I don't think you have to be confident to do the thing, but I feel that you need to act confident. I would love to hear your take on this.
Man, that's such an interesting perspective. And there's so many approaches you can take to wrestling with this demon of the inner critic or the negative voice, or what one may perceive as a lack of confidence. And other folks can be so prescriptive in their medicine for it. So I think our first step is to really walk it back and say, here's a great thing. There are actually many approaches we can take to deal with this. And now let's just have some fun exploring them. So for one, you dropped a little question that I know we all agonize ourselves with, the why me? Why me to do this? So I'm going to totally go nuts here, off kilter, and pull down something from my bulletin board. So you know how I approach this why me? I answer it.
Oh my goodness, that is so cool.
So I do, and then I update it every once in a while. So if
just
you're
for the
asking
people
yourself,
that are listening, I want to explain what's just happened. Laura has just gone off her pin board and got an actual list of why me.
Why me? And so I will just start writing down. Well, I'll even, it's a little bit intimate, but I'll read some to you because it's important for your folks to hear this. I teach fundamental concepts in a simple way. I'm engaging and motivating. I'm entertaining. I'm not dogmatic. I use all types of experiences and mediums. I want to, really important one. I care, I listen, I eat the dog food. That's my language for practicing what I preach. I want to help, it fuels me. So notice that these reasons, now I'm holding up the sheet, none of them are really speaking to, oh, I have all of this experience. Oh, Bob Proctor said I'm the best at it. Like the things that you feel like we need, all of this stuff is what's already inside of me. And that is why me. And the results come from this. This is the birthplace of all of the results. So anytime that sneaky little why me question comes up, just for one, you have the answers to why me. So take a minute to explore them. And that's awesome. I feel re-energized because it's been a while since I've looked at that. Another fascinating thing about that list is that's like 30 pieces of content that I can create right there, and positioning and messaging all around that. So that's one small approach that we can take to engage with the inner voice. The other strategy that you alluded to, which I love, is you're in control ultimately at the end of the day. It's not the lack of confidence. That's a choice you make to be in control, even if the confidence is not there. And that's a muscle. So the more you work that muscle, the less that intrusive voice of you can't do this is going to come up, because you've kept proving to it, hey, yeah, you've said that before, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And that's hugely powerful.
I love that. And I wanted to touch on something on that list, which really stood out to me. And I feel like this is something that not enough people give themselves permission to. And it was, you said, because I want to. And one of the biggest things that a friend of mine told me, it would probably be going back 10 years. I was having a bit of a tough time in my life, a divorce, moved house, moved, hundreds of kilometers away from my kids. And we were having a conversation and I said, I just want to do that, but it's wrong. And he went, Sam, that is so not right. He said, you want it because you want it, because you want it. I want it because I want it, because I want it. And now I swear to goodness, I say that every day to myself. I'll do, something like my husband said to me yesterday, I just want to go to Paris for breakfast. And he went, how bougie is that? I'm like, yeah, but I want it because I want it because I want it. Like, let's just do that. Yes. Let's go to Paris for breakfast. Like, who made the rules?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes, you make the rules.
So what I love about that list is that you just called it out. Just, I want it. I think it's so powerful.
You know what my belief about desire is? I got a few. The first is, if I'm a part of the universe, right, which we are, most people would agree to that, then me wanting something is what the universe wants for itself.
Oh, whoa. I got goosebumps just then.
Right? Like, same. And that's why when you say I want what I want, I feel that in my body as well, because that's the universe wanting what it wants when it wants it. And so, man, fighting against that desire, what is that costing you? What is that costing you? Letting the doubt get in the way of even taking a small action step towards what you desire? Please don't.
Huge.
Mhm.
I would love to discuss the difference between confidence and arrogance.
Mm.
This is a conversation that my husband and I have on the daily, just about. People buy confidence.
Mhm.
People love you to be in their sphere because you're confident.
Mhm.
But what separates confidence from arrogance? Because arrogance, I feel, is it pushes it away.
Mhm. Well, let me offer you this. I suspect most arrogant people would not care enough to seek and understand that distinction. So for anybody out there who may worry about, well, I don't want to appear too confident. They might think I'm arrogant. By worrying about that, you will likely not be arrogant. You know what I mean? The arrogant person is not going to worry about that. My view on one of the main differences, and I want to hear yours too, especially since you and your husband discuss it, is confidence is open. Confidence can listen, can entertain different points of view, different opinions. Arrogance is closed. Arrogance is very, I know it, my way is the way, I'm not interested in other people. If I perceive somebody to be lower than me on some sort of social totem pole in this performance we all do, right? And I'm going to be closed off to that. That's arrogance. And that's why arrogance repels, because it's literally a closed off energy, in my opinion.
I totally agree. And the reason it came up is because we'd heard someone in a marketing space say, you need to be arrogant. And both of us just looked at each other like, what? that to us felt so wrong. And I feel like people with confidence are open. They listen, they lean in, they make you, well, not that anyone can make you feel anything, but you do feel good about yourself. It's a safety, like I've got this situation.
Yes.
Where an arrogance is like, exactly like you said, I'm telling you, and you're not listening, and it's like, I'm coming at you kind of feeling, where you sort of pull back and go, whoa, like, yeah, no, I've been in this situation before. I don't want any of that. Thank you very much.
Amen.
Love it. Let's talk about pricing and asking for the sale, charging what we're worth, all of that, because there's got to be some sort of confidence in ourselves, a belief in ourselves, to be able to, let's even just say, raise our prices. And I think that as an entrepreneur, it's, we're here to make a profit. Even though we're coming from this really good place, we still need to be able to make money. What do you work with your clients? Like, what do your people have to tap into to take our pricing to the next level?
To speak with you candidly, what I find they need is me telling them to do it. And that's part of what the magic of a coach, or even just a very good friend you maintain accountability with, right? So, because if I'm like, you got to do this, or what's the next, they're going to have to face me next week having not done it. Now, some of the magical little tricks you can do for boosting your prices, just put a buy button on the internet with the new price. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that is your starting out point. You don't have to tell anybody about it. You don't have to talk to your existing clients about it yet. And maybe you don't always increase the price across all your clients. It's going to be very unique situations for each individual person. But I'm always shocked by how many service providers who have done business for years. And then I'm like, okay, where are some buy buttons? Like, I don't have any. Everything has always been, we get on calls, and then I send a custom proposal, and then we wait a week to hear back, and then we get on another call, and so many barriers in between collecting the money. What if it was easy? This is a prompt I often give them. Like, what if it was easy? You would just have a button, you put out some messaging. Sometimes people will just click the button and buy. And if you have to get on a phone call, that's fine. But now you have this anchor. You have this anchor of what you've already created as a starting price, and new prospects should come in and have an understanding of that. So some mutual ground has been set. They're not walking in with no expectation, thinking you're going to work for free and all of this. So that's one useful starting approach, either a price sheet that you can create in a PDF in Canva and before you get on calls with people, just forwarding that out and saying, hey, if we both feel after connecting that we want to spend more time together, this is so you have this in your back pocket. Another effective strategy with that is, if you also want to build a list for your services, what do most people coming in want to know? Like, how much? All right, how much is it for this and that? Okay, you can say, you set up an opt-in form, and it's like, sign up and I'll send you my full, totally transparent price sheet for everything. So now you've collected the list, they're interested in potentially buying, right? Because that's a closing question. How much is a great question. They want it. So first of all, never be afraid of that question. And pushback at your price is great too. I'll talk about that in a second. But just to close the loop on, they opt in, they're interested, they get the price sheet, mutual ground is set. So it's so much of, I think if I were to like get the macro out of the nitty gritty tactical of that, it's like getting it out of your head and putting it somewhere else, on a website, on paper, in an email. Like, it removes all of your personal, feeling like it's a reflection of your worth, like this struggle. Putting it out there can help with that.
Yeah, love that. Like creating that distance. Because, and you alluded to it there, a lot of us, gosh, I'll be honest, to me as well, there are times where the pricing and the self-worth are one, but they're actually not. They're completely separate. So separate. How often do you hear about that? Like that self-worth thing, like, I'm not good enough to charge that.
I heard it just the other day from a client of mine who I adore, and she sells accounting, bookkeeping, tax services, and she's brilliant. She knows like all of these different tax codes, things I could never begin to understand, right? And even before, she was anticipating this happening, and the language she used was, they think I'm not worth it. They think I'm not worth it. And this was all, nothing had even happened yet. So we're not even talking about reality yet, right? We're just in the fear zone, which I couldn't have any less judgment for, because we all go there.
100%.
And so you have to be a bloodhound to that, even in yourself, when you hear yourself say it. Because ultimately, if you don't want something to be true, stop thinking it. We are masters at turning what we think into a reality.
Yes.
And so they won't think I'm worth it. And if I were to be strong in my response to this, the truth of the matter is, if somebody says no to your offer, if somebody says that's too expensive, it's because they don't feel worth it yet.
Wow.
Because they're not buying anything. They're not buying you. They want to buy themselves. And people's actions will always match up to their self-concept. And so, if I a coach, best coach ever, best coach in the world, $1 million. Actually, I saw a real coach. I won't leave any names, but I saw a real coach. She's talked about on Reddit. Okay. Let's just say that about her. And she was charging $88,888 for 8 phone calls. Okay.
Okay.
I know, crazy. Who knows if anybody's really buying it? It might be a price anchor, right? Et cetera, et cetera. But let's just say that coach was actually amazing, right? Even me, I'm like, I love myself to death, but like 88 grand for 8 phone calls, but it's not, I'm not saying she's not worth it. So, but I also want to like validate anytime we feel those concerns. Like, to say business is not personal is a lie most of the time.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you're in this coaching business, and it's a lot of you that is out there that you're putting into it. But I never take rejection. This took me a long time to practice, but I don't take rejection as them saying no to me. They're saying no to the moment. They're saying no to themselves a little bit, which is sad. And they're saying no to the time, to this moment. Those are the real things they're saying no to.
You said that it's taken you a little bit of work. What helped you to move through to the point where it isn't personal?
Here was the biggest thing that helps me. I used to get mad. I swear to God, let me tell you, somebody say no, I'd be like, what? You don't see the value. And then I would replay in my head, well, how could I have done it better? Maybe if I said it this way, maybe if the offer included this, there's utility to that. So I give myself grace. We all want to refine our processes and get better. So I try to take what's useful about that and leave the self-flagellation, at least try to minimize that as much as possible. And the biggest thing that helped me was realizing that the other party at the end of the line is a fully grown, autonomous, adult human being who is going to make the best decision for them at that exact moment in time. And if it's not working with me right then and there, how much lighter does that feel? Right?
100%. Yeah, because you're taking away all that expectation. And even more than that, it's taking away, what's the feeling? The feeling that you're trying to force someone else to your way.
Yes, yes, yes.
And that's super heavy.
It's really heavy. Nobody wants to do that.
No, because we need to come from a place of love, from a place of service. We know we're the right person for the job. By the time we've got our ideal person on the phone, we know that we can help them. But like you said, sometimes it's not the right time. Sometimes it's all sorts of other things. But just coming from that place of love, service, grace, it's like, okay, so it's not right for you. That's fine. I just was chatting with someone online the other day and, you know, we'd worked out a sales call, and then there was a really weird, circumstances where I had to cancel a call because I'd been injured, and then she had to cancel a call for something else. And then she just messaged me and went, oh, look, I'm really sorry. I've signed up to work with someone else in the meantime. I really love your content and, but if you don't want to speak to me anymore, that's fine. I went, why would I not want to speak with you? Because you're working with someone else. I went, a rising tide lifts all boats. You've just told me that you get lots of value from my content. Hang around. It's okay. But I think that's so unusual these days, right? It's like, oh, you didn't buy from me. Cut.
100%. 100%. And I mean, frankly, that type of relationship, like people who invest in coaching, like they'll get more than one coach. They'll be in 3 or 4 programs, you know? So it's not like saying yes to one thing is saying no to everything else. It doesn't work mutually exclusively like that at all.
Totally. And for me, I also know that I do my absolute, or actually I was going to say my best work, but I'm going to flip that. I know that clients get the most benefit from me when they've worked with another coach previously, because then they've got a baseline of like, oh, now I understand how much Sam knows. Where if they've never worked with a coach before, that's their normal then. So it's kind of knowing where you're at too, right? And it comes back to that list that you made for yourself. We can do that in different ways.
Yes, I love that.
Let's go back to the pushback in pricing, because you mentioned that's something that you can speak to.
Oh man, I love this topic so much. So first of all, here's how I genuinely feel, and maybe a little bit funny. Anytime I get an instant yes, I'm like, I screwed up. I could have charged more. An instant yes, they could charge more. And this got to the point where, I mean, I've charged upwards of $50,000 for a sales letter. And by that, I mean a Google Doc. They're like, you don't design it or nothing. I'm like, nah, it's words, good words. I'm even at that high of a price, I get a yes. I'm like, I screwed up. Like, I'm grateful. Yes, gratitude 100%. But if I'm running the play back in my head, I'm like, I could ask for more. So I want to be seeing resistance. And this might depend on what exactly you offer, if negotiating is part of the territory or not, et cetera, et cetera. But for a lot of professional services, it's not unexpected, right, for the client to come back and say, well, maybe can we split pay? Can we do something like this, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm looking for that. So I know that I'm hitting the upper end on what I can get out of this deal, first of all. So I meet counter offers in price or anything like that, any price negotiation questions as one, they want it. Okay. Because they wouldn't be negotiating if they didn't want it. So this is a positive, good thing. And 2, okay, I know that I can get somewhere around the maximum out of this deal, right? The instant yes, we love it. But the problem is especially for folks who are experienced, feel they know deep down they're undercharging. What I would lovingly challenge them with is, are you looking for too many easy yeses? Do you just want everything you send out to be, yep, easy yes, easy yes? I actually have my clients, I put them on a no quota. I'm like, you need to hear 3 no's this month. You've heard too many yeses. And then you're saying, I want to charge more, I want to charge more. Oh, no, well, let's try. Like, let's try to get some no's. Like, how much, man, that changes the game for them. Now they're like, they're thinking of more robust, more deep packages they can offer people. How can we go deeper? How could I work with them at the most impactful level? All of this. Okay, now I'm going to offer them my star-studded package. And of course, the ironic thing is like they get more yeses a lot of the time, right? And now since they've been looking for no's, if they get a no, it doesn't hurt, right? Because they've completed the assignment. They've got a little checkbox. Yes, I got one of my no's that I need to get this month. So that's a really fun way to approach it as well. The other thing is I try to agree with every objection anybody ever gives me. It's such a more fun and light approach. So literally, if somebody will tell me like tickets to my Diamond Day event, gosh, they go from $4,500 to $6,000 for a live event. We do a lot of luxurious shit. It's great. I have high costs. Okay. But people will say, oh, Laura, your tickets are expensive, for a couple days. And I'm like, yeah, do you want to come anyway? And they're like, oh, yeah, I do. That's my favorite That's my favorite counter to it's expensive. I'm like, yeah, but do you want it anyway? And they're always like, well, yeah. And move. Okay. Well, what's next? What's next? Got to check the calendar now. What's the next one? So
I love that.
Oh, I'm glad.
So what I'm hearing through all of that is that you've turned it into a game. You're turning into something fun. You're taking away all the, oh my gosh, this feels hard and this is tough and it makes me feel yuck. And you're just like, all right, let's play.
100%. That I'm really glad. That's such a nice way to put it. Thank you.
Pleasure. Let's talk about attracting those clients in the first place. The ones that want to pay $6,000 for your event that are like, hell yeah, I want to come to that anyway, even though it's a stretch for me right now because I've never made a decision that backs myself that much before. Taking a one step back, how do you bring those people into your world?
The first thing that hits my spirit to share on this is consistency. And not in the, you're going to post 3 times a week, you're going to do 4 reels, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not a rigid person, but consistency in they know they're going to be okay. At the end of the day, I believe that is what most people want, especially when they're taking a leap of faith and they're putting money out there, hoping for something. They don't want to be screwed over. They don't want to be abandoned. And they want to know that even if they screw up, they'll still be okay. Like, let's take the live event. Introverts come, and funnily enough, a lot of introverts come. Live events can be a lot for a more introverted person. And you got to meet these people and you got to talk, you got to be on, and there's always some level again of the performance and this and that we're all doing. Man, it's totally draining. And so, for example, one of the things I'll say about my events is, hey, if you're an introvert and you're thinking about coming and you need time to recharge, like, I'm going to give that to you. So you're going to be okay. But guess what? I'm not going to let you run away and be in the corner and waste a day of the event because you're crying in the hotel room, because you're hiding in the bathroom at lunch. Like, these are real challenges people have at doing this. And so it's that combination of holding the space, being safe, validating what they need, and the strength that they're looking for of, you'll be okay if you mess up, but I'm not going to let you mess up for very long. You're not going to be abandoned. You're not going to get to isolate. Never worry alone. That's one of my mantras. Man, worrying alone stinks. So I just openly communicate things like that over and over and over again. And that's what makes people come around. First, it starts with a little bit of curiosity. They see us do it, like jumping in a cold plunge. Man, I go on stage in sparkly outfits. I do all this wild stuff. I make it fun. And so that, that catches the interest. And then they see, here's how I'm going to take care of you if you're an introvert. We do a tradition where somebody gets on stage for the first time in their life. So if that's the person feeling ready for that, wanting to be pushed, that's available to them. And the more my folks realize I'm going to be okay with Laura, she's going to push me a little bit, but I'm going to be okay, the more comfortable they get taking the leap. And you know what, Samantha, I think this has only gotten better for me over the years because I've grown more comfortable with who I am.
Yeah. Because I think when we first starting out, it's all about us. Like, what are people going to think about us? Is someone going to judge us for that? But as you go down the track and you realize, actually, I need to be there for other people. And all of a sudden, it's not about us anymore. It's exactly like you said, it's the consistency of being there for other people so that they can say, oh, you know what, Laura has my back. I feel safe in this space. And I think that it is one of the most valuable things that we can give to our clients is having their back 100%.
Agreed. Being a sincere advocate for them. Agreed.
Yeah. And I love what you said there as well. It's like, I'm going to push you, but I'm also going to say, it's okay, I've got you. And there has to be that balance or that little dance between the both, because if it's just like, oh, I know you're scared, it's okay, I've got you, but you're not pushing them, they're not going to get any better, right? There's got to be that beautiful, like, no, you can do this, you've got it.
Yes. Amen.
Love it so much. Now, we started off talking about confidence. We did just bring it back in there. I know that you've got a resource to help people to unlock their confidence. I'd love you to share a little bit about what you've got.
Yes, thank you so much. So if you go to the website mindframe.me, mindframe.me, it's way harder to spell than say.
Isn't it just?
I'm a writer. Mindframe.me. You'll find a guide that I've put together, and I'm just going to go totally off script, Samantha, and tell you something funny about it. So when I first wrote that, there's this thing kind of like the curse of knowledge bias. And so I wrote it and I'm feeling like most people know this already, but these are useful reminders. And therefore I called it 6 simple mind frame shifts, like these sort of gamifying and perspective changing shifts that I offer folks. And I called them simple because I assumed everybody already knew it. It took me about 2 years removed from writing it and like hundreds of pieces of feedback from people to realize these are not simple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're elegant and they're effective and they work, but you'll see it's a PDF full of different questions and thought exercises. And what if it was easy? What would you do? Like different ways to help you solve your problems. But kind of like the psychology that drives it, which I go into, and some of the science is not necessarily simple. But I felt the need to say that, I think, because I was downplaying, because I felt, Isn't that interesting?
Because we're all human. You're human.
Yeah.
I'm human. We're all having a human experience. So we will definitely put a link to that in the show notes below, wherever you're listening now, so you can get a copy of that. You brought up then the idea, and we didn't go into it deeper, and I want to go back to it around the pricing. And you said that, yes, you put your prices up, and then your clients think, what can I add to that? What needs to change? What do I need to go deeper on? And I think that this is a topic that a lot of people don't talk about. They're like, yeah, just 10x your prices. You have just proven to me that you and I have exactly the same belief that, yes, you can 10x your prices, but something may need to change. Can you talk a little bit to this?
Yeah. And I mean, of course, it's going to depend, right? I think at the here's how I'll say it. What do you, and I'm saying this to your listeners and viewers, what do you need to do to feel 100% confident and embodied in that higher price, right? That may be a matter of changing the wrapping paper, right? Changing how you talk about the transformation they're going to receive, right? It may be adding a few more calls onto it. So you feel like this is an incredible offering and I know I can smash it. Right. And so maybe there'll be no modifications you need to make. Maybe you'll feel like, oh, I can just 10x my price and I know it's the SHIT and that's good.
Yeah.
So that's what it's going to depend. But I think a good amount of the time, especially when you're first trying it on, my suggestion is like, do whatever to it so that you can get to that place of, this is a dream offer. It's incredible. Because when you have that conviction, that is what sells it. That is what gives your prospects that feeling of safety with you. I'm going to give you a good little story about this. As somebody who has so lived this journey of value stack and craft the perfect offer and nail the messaging and the avatar, and don't talk to me about avatars and all of this. The other day, I had a lead, a human being, by the way, come in.
Yes, I love that.
A human being, a soul emailed me and said, Laura, I've been feeling stuck. I've been looking at this coaching offer that you have. And, it was kind of long and sharing a lot of the story. And so all of my stuff comes through, right? Well, I could break down the offer for her. I could really elaborate on the transformation. I could offer to hop on a call, and demonstrate my bad, all these things. And I kind of ran a little, what if it was easy, filter on myself. What if I was pure? And so I simply reply to her, Samantha, and I say, I will get you unstuck or die trying. What do you say? And then I see the payment notification come through. And she's like, I'm in. So that's a story of the conviction, right? I don't need to get on a call and start solving your problems for free, which we tend to do for ourselves, right? I don't need to convince you via a long salesy email, right? At least not in this stage and in this situation. I just had to show her my conviction in both me and her in like 5 words. And we've been having a great run together. She's been doing great. So, man, if that helps any of your people just throw some of the pageantry out of the window, get rooted in what they have conviction they can do, and just say it, put it on the table and say it, man. And if you get a no, great, because you got to get 3 no's anyway. So
I love that. That is such valuable advice. And I think going back to what we were saying before, just, play with it, have a game, try it on for size, see how it feels. You never know what can happen, right?
No, we really don't.
Laura, this conversation has been fabulous. For people that want to stay connected with you, where can they do that?
Facebook is probably the best place. You could search for me on there, Laura Catella, Catella. And please shoot me a message. I personally respond to all my messages. I would love if anybody got anything. I love to be useful. That's like the curse of the coaching folks like us. Tell me how it's useful. So if anybody got anything useful out of it or has a question for me, it would make my day to hear that and help in any way I can. And it is almost 9 p.m. my time, and you have been such a delight to talk to. And this conversation has totally got me fired up, and I'm really grateful.
Well, thank you for staying up, having this conversation with us after hours. I very much appreciate you.
Thank you.